Hello and welcome to the Alchemist Inkwell.
This is your spiritual podcast for grounded and jet-lagged people.
I am not grounded. I'll tell you that much right now. In the
I
sake of
am
honesty,
I am jet-lagged.
oh my God. Oh my God. So, I got back yesterday. I think you got, what, 2 days ago?
Sunday night at like 8 p.m. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
And
got
then I
back
had a
to my
full calendar.
house.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible.
I
I have a
know.
full calendar today and I was like very upset about it, like almost tears upset because I was like, I just want to lay on the couch.
Yeah.
And my calendar is literally just talking to you and Rebecca and Charlie, and then doing my like train with me class. So all of it's fine, but I was just
Mhm.
like, but I want to not.
Right. I need a comatose day, and I don't have one of those in the foreseeable future. So I think I'm going to take a comatose day on my next flight out to Tahoe to see you.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to comatose for the morning before I go down to Reno. So
hmm
that's the space that I have.
Yep.
That's it. That's all.
Oh,
Um,
but look at
that's
all the
okay.
things we get to do. Yay.
No.
Yeah.
All that's to say, we had the most incredible, spectacular, wonderful time in Egypt. We're going to take two podcast episodes to recap that for you. This is not one because
No, we don't have enough time to do justice to how incredible these trips were and so needed. Oh my God, it was so nice to not be in this physical location of the world geographically.
one of our travelers said, and this is like the highest compliment I think either of us have ever fucking received, but she said it's so wonderful to have a place to feel safe
Mhm.
within this time. And she wasn't talking about Egypt. She was a little bit, but more so just like in the group that we like
Yeah, the
cultivated.
community.
And I was just like, yeah, yeah, it is.
hmm
On that note, when you're listening to this, you get to know where we're traveling next.
Can we say it? Because I
We
still have to film
can.
clue number two in like real time.
Drum, drum,
Yay.
drum, drum, drum,
Okay,
drum,
okay.
drum. I don't know if you heard me do my weird drum roll, but you
Oh,
did. You
and my
did it.
phone went off.
Woo!
Okay, so
We are
are
super
going.
excited to announce that we are taking our next Ancient Wisdom retreat, which is next, basically this time of year next
Yeah,
year,
1 year from now.
to
Peru!
Peru! We get to
Yay!
visit a new set of ruins every single day of that trip.
hmm
We will go to
Yeah.
ruins every day. So, yes, we are doing Machu Picchu, but we are doing so many other Incan ruins, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to eat such good
I was
food.
gonna say
We're
there are
going to
cooking
commune.
classes.
Right, we're going to do a cooking class. We're going to commune with nature. Oh my, it's so good, guys. I'm
The food.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Also, sorry for my clues. I know they threw a bunch of you off. That was on purpose.
I tried to be like really vague with my first clue, which is the only one that's been posted so far, and the spoiler, tons of you guessed it like right away. I'm so bad at this game.
Oh my gosh, I knew the first picture that I would use would throw everyone onto Ireland and Scotland, and it did.
Oh, nice.
It's a zoom in of Machu Picchu, by the way. That's what
Nice.
it is.
So my
Uh,
clue was that we were going to a different hemisphere that we hadn't traveled to before. So I thought people would be like, "Oh, Australia." No, everybody was like Peru.
yeah,
How? Well, I
I
mean, I did
mean,
mention ruins too, so I probably gave it away.
were we not in the Southern Hemisphere in Egypt? Where were
Not
we?
quite. Uganda has the equator.
Okay, Uganda has the
I
equator.
stood on it once.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love
I've
that.
been there on the equator in Uganda and Ecuador.
Cool. Well,
Hmm.
we're going to Peru,
We're going to
and we'd love for
Peru
you to come. As always, we do have early bird spots. It is going to launch on Saturday. It's going to
Saturday.
launch on
Yeah, it's on
Saturday
my Saturday
morning.
calendar.
So when you listen to this, the tickets should be launching in at least at most a day or two, or perhaps already launched, depending on when you listen to it. Um, we do have early release specials for the first couple people, so if you want to get in on that. Yeah, I'm really excited about this trip. Really excited about this
Mm,
trip. It's going to be so magical. It's not going to be too hot at the time of year we're going down there. It's going to be a really profoundly life-changing journey through this space. And there's a lot of history to channel in. One of the locations we go to is actually one of the places where the Incan people fought off the conquistadors, which is pretty freaking cool. So we're gonna
Yeah.
go through a bunch of different history, do a bunch of different magic, do a bunch of different folk magic, understand nature, talk to the jungle. It's gonna be so cool.
Oh,
But you guys should come.
yeah. Yeah. We have a really good time, I promise. Like
Hmm.
a really good time. Like we have such a good time that Trova is actually asking us to help train other people because the communities that join our trips, you guys, are so awesome. And
Yeah,
so thanks for that. It's really
yeah.
cool. Let's do more.
It's so it's so divine. I can't describe it as any other way, but just
Hmm.
incredibly divine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is. And it's super special. And I'm
Mhm.
so excited to go.
Yeah, we both have really lit up ninth houses, which is where foreign travel falls. And so just know that you are making us super duper happy with how incredible everybody is when they come on these trips. It's
Yeah,
magic.
yeah. So let's go see some pyramids that are different. Let's go
Different
see some
pyramids,
ruins that
less
are
pointy
different.
pyramids.
Hmm. It's gonna be so cool. I'm so excited to channel in that history. Speaking of which, we are going to do a bookend on this episode, and we're going to
Mhm.
play Higa. And our one of our books that both of us read does actually feature some South American history.
Yes.
Which so if you're like, "Ooh, will I like the vibe of Peru?" This is not specifically Peru, but it does have the same vibes. You
Hmm.
should read
Empire of
Empire
Shadow.
of Shadows.
I have it on my
Empire of
screen.
Shadows, right? Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline Benson. Oh my
Mhm.
God, is this series so fucking good? I
It's
know I
so
talked about
good.
it last bookend, but it's so good. And the second book is even better. And Krista's now read the second book.
I
Did
finished
you
it.
finish it?
Mhm. Yeah, I finished it on
Okay,
the airplane home. Like as I landed, it finished. It was perfect.
good.
So good.
It's so good. I remember last year when we both read that rather shitty book, What the River Knows, and we both really
Uh-huh.
disliked it.
And then we
This
found it in
is
a bookstore in Egypt and it was so disappointing.
I'm
Yeah.
very disappointed about it. This book is what that book wanted to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And it succeeded. It succeeded
Yeah.
in so many ways. All the characters are
Mhm.
great. Every single one of them is
Uh-huh.
great.
I
Oh
love
my
them all.
gosh.
And they always, so both books, both book one and two, and there's going to be more. They're heading, I'm not going to tell you where they're heading
I
next,
know. I
but
know. I'm
it's a
so excited.
cool spot that they're going to for the next book. But the first book takes place in what is at the time the colony of British Honduras, and then the second book takes place in Egypt. At some of the sites we went to, which
Hmm.
is really fun.
Yep.
Really, really fun. We had a good time with that. But the cool thing is in both places they involve heavily local characters too that will not be in repeated books, but are
Hmm.
local and help guide them and help you understand the culture. It's very anti-imperialism. It's beautiful. But if you're like, oh, Peru, I don't really know a lot about that energy. Like I don't know a lot about them. That's fine. You should read Empire of Shadows and
Hmm.
check out the vibes of British Honduras and the Mayan people and see if that vibes with you. And if it does, you'll really like Peru and the
Hmm.
Incans.
Yeah. And regardless, you'll really like Peru and the Incans just because
Yeah,
it's such a great culture in
so
South
good.
America in general. Like I've never been to Peru before, but I've been to several places in South America and it never disappoints. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I have so many people I know in South America because we have a J1 program for the
Mhm.
ski resorts. And so when it was their summer break, it's our winter, and they would come up and work at the ski resorts from Peru and Argentina and Brazil, a bunch of places. And they were always just so much fun.
Mhm.
I've had so much fun with our J1s. Such
Mhm.
wonderful, just beautiful people. So I'm excited. I'm so thrilled. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to it. Yeah.
yeah. On that note, this is a bookend, and then we're gonna
Yeah.
do Higa, as I mentioned. My bookend is pretty much the two books I just. Uh, I read Empire of Shadows, highly recommend, and then I read Tomb of the Sun King, highly recommend more, honestly.
Hmm.
It is so rare. It is so rare to find a book that the second book is better. It's
It
usually the
is.
opposite. Usually the second book tanks and we all hate it and we're sad. Not this one. Oh
Nope.
no. So
Yeah.
highly recommend it. And also Jacqueline Benson seems just like a wonderful person.
Hmm.
So if I just think we should all support her.
Hmm. In every way
Whatever she does.
possible. 100%.
Uh-huh.
Jacqueline Benson, if you hear this and you want to be on the podcast, we would love to have you. Yeah.
We're probably just gonna bug her until she comes.
Like, let's just do that. That'd be fun.
We're like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, please come here."
I mean, there's getting another
Um,
book. We could be part of the launch process. That sounds great.
I will launch. We now have it. Both of us obviously have a new favorite series because it's so good. I was just looking
Yeah.
at my phone, like, what else did I
Well,
read?
and it was so good because, I was in the Emily Wilde hangover,
Mm-hmm.
which is a sad place to be when you have to say
Yeah.
goodbye to Wendell for the last time. And I was like, how am I
No.
going to follow this up? And
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to read Tomb of the Sun King because we were going to Egypt. And I was like, it'd be so fun to be able to read this while in Egypt. So I finished Emily Wilde like the day before I left for Egypt, started Empire of Shadows so that I could get to Tomb of the Sun King, and just loved every bit of it all the way. Like, thank God for
Mm-hmm.
long flights because I had the best time reading these books. And then
So
now I'm on Oathbound. And
fun. Oh, there
aside
you go.
from our book club read, was Lamb, is now Emily Wilde, but I got ahead on that.
Nice.
And next we're going to be doing comparative theology for
Fun.
April. To just decentralize Christianity a little bit, which I think is great. And the other book I'm reading, though, that I'm getting around to is this really great book called La Custa that will live in your brain as you're reading it viscerally.
Thank
Highly
you.
recommend everybody should anticipate the release of this book. It's by
You're the
someone
best.
named Emily Dexter.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you're reading it, honestly. I'm
Mhm.
also reading this really good book. It's called Tear Down the Sky, and it's like super duper fun, and I like all the
Yay.
characters, and I'm very intrigued in how the fuck it's gonna work out, honestly, because again, like, oh my gosh, there's so many ends, and they're all going in different ways, and it's super well done. It's also by Crystal and Sophia, and they're awesome, so you should also anticipate that. I'm
Mhm.
so glad you're reading with us to go. One of the things we got to do, Weston and I went to Rome
Mhm.
first before we went to Egypt, and I actually took my author photos there, which was like my form
Oh.
of manifestation. It was super duper fun. I loved it. But also for the first time ever, I was able to go into Livia's house on
Mhm.
the Palatine Hill, which is literally where Lucasta lived. In the book, and it was so cool. It's so validating. I can't even describe it. When doing channeled history stuff, you just look at it and you're like, okay, I hope this is what it looked like. Because really, there's not a ton of records typically on things that are like that. So I'm just pulling it in and typing it out. And it's exact. Like I channeled it in exactly. I was able to go in there and be like, "Oh my God, this is this room and this is that room and like this is exactly what it is." Only half of it is really still there.
Mhm.
But it was a really validating moment. So super duper cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited
love it.
about it.
I can't wait to see
Oh,
it on the book cover.
thank you. Oh my goodness. Um, on that note too, they're in just circling back to our new favorite series, there's someone who does channeled history in the series.
And they're so mad about it.
Dark channel history, and it's so
Oh,
good.
when
Hmm.
they realize it and they're like, no, that's not how that is. It's like, it is, dude. That's how that is. Yeah.
Oh, it makes me so happy. Oh, it makes me so happy. All the characters are phenomenal, but once they introduced the channeled history character, I was like, hi.
Oh, and such a good character.
Hmm.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that
I
character
also
covers so
started
much
reading
ground.
Emily Wilde, but I am terrified for it to end because I have a problem. And so I took a break. I took a break in the middle of it right now to start reading Sunrise on the Reaping, which came out yesterday, which is the newest
Mm,
Hunger Game book around about Hamish's Hunger Games. So far, oh God, it's hurting my chest already, but it's really, really good. 'Cause it's a
mhm,
Hunger Games book. Of course, they're all really good.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's I paused Emily Wild because I don't want it. I'm
It is
afraid of
that
the
good.
ending.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Is good. I was listening to the audiobook of Emily Wilde, and for some reason the last chapter wasn't included. So when I was listening to it and it stopped, I was like, that's how you ended it. And it was still really cute. But
Hmm.
I did have to read the last chapter when I found it in the hard copy of the book, which I also have.
I
I
do too. It's right
support,
at the.
yeah, yeah, I support Heather Fawcett a lot. So like all the formats were purchased just to make sure that, yeah, that it's supported. But they're also just really pretty. So it's
Yeah.
good.
All the formats of Tomb of the Sun King and the Raiders of the Arcana series is what it's called. All of those are about to
Yeah.
be purchased too,
Yeah.
because
Same. Same.
it's now an
Yep.
obsession. So have
It
fun with
belongs on the
that.
bookshelf. Yeah. It belongs on the bookshelf, which
Probably
again,
going
I
on the
don't get to
arm,
say
but
that. Yeah, I don't get to
huh?
say that every month. Like it's very rare that I'm
Oh yeah.
like 3 out of the 4 books I read this month, and only because I haven't finished the one is
Hmm.
going to be on my bookshelf. Now, I'm reading Oathbound by Tracy Dion. I have Legendborn and Bloodmarked on my bookshelf already.
Hmm.
So standards and expectations are high, and so far it's doing a good job of meeting
Good.
them. So yeah.
Oh, excited. I will say it was really cool too reading the um, book before going to Egypt because it gave us a lot more information about just one specific period of ancient Egypt. So
Hmm.
walking through the Egyptian Museum, I would be like, "That's an Armana period thing. That's an Armana period thing." Like you could pick it out, which was
Yeah.
just like really fun.
Yeah.
Um,
And because one of the things that they're exploring is actually a biblical relic. You get a lot of like cross
yeah,
theologies between the Egyptian belief system and uh the
Abrahamic.
Abrahamic belief system, which then when we went to a bookstore that was like an academic bookstore in Luxor, I found a book that actually would give me more context on it. And I'm so excited. I'm probably going to be doing videos on it, on the
Yeah,
comparison between Aten and Moses and that kind
yeah.
of thing. So stay
Mm-hmm.
tuned for that. That's going to be fun.
It'll be fun.
Hmm.
Oh, guys, we have so many stories I want to tell
I
you.
know.
We
Oh.
also have some really fun announcements about the podcast and things that are coming up too.
Hmm.
We're really going to focus a lot more energy on the podcast. On that note, if there's things you want to see with the podcast or things like I'd love to see you guys in person, do a live show, or I don't know,
Hmm.
if like if you guys did this, that would be super duper cool. If you want to comment those on our YouTube or send them to us via email, we'll take that into consideration. We're doing a lot of
Hmm.
growth here, so it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
But we're excited about it, and we really want to bring some new energy into this space
Hmm.
for sure. Shall we, Higa?
Let's Higa. That was great. Okay. So I don't have anything on my Patreon this month for Higa suggestions. By the way, if you're
I
on
don't
our
think so.
Patreons, you can suggest questions that we will include in our Higa. But
Yes, we will.
in lieu of suggestions, I'm gonna just tarot card it up. I'm getting better at my tarot card shuffle, making me very
Love
happy.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
I don't think I have any either. I'm looking at my Patreon. I was like, do I? I don't think so. Patreon's very odd. It's hard to like load sometimes and like
yeah.
understand. It's just very interesting. Um, yeah,
Okay.
looks like not a lot. Hmm. My computer's so mad at me right now. It's fine.
Well, you did leave it for a little while, so
I know. It's grumpy. It's like my dog.
right. Kill him.
He's
Oh.
wearing a cape right now. We tied a blanket around his shoulders. And he's now sleeping in it. So he's wearing a cape.
Precious, precious,
Because of
perfect
course he
dog.
is, because he's the
Yeah.
most baby.
All
Okay.
right. So the first one that popped out is, have you ever experienced a natural disaster or crisis situation?
Sorry. Shove
Like,
from
I didn't
sorry off
realize I
the
was going to be
crisis
giving my whole
line.
biography today. Sorry.
Right. I mean, a bunch
Hmm.
of crisis situations. A whole bunch of crisis situations in my life, to be totally
Uh-huh.
honest.
My life is a
Um,
crisis situation.
Plethora. I was also a horseback ride, the tour guide for a long time.
Hmm.
Like people fall off, people get hurt. Like
Hmm.
definitely some crisis is there. Have I experienced a natural disaster? Like every summer, pretty much.
I was going to say, you live
Stuff
in
burns.
California. Hmm.
I've evacuated more than once, watched stuff burn more than once at friends' homes more than once. We also get earthquakes all the time, not to national disaster level, I would say, but
Hmm.
I'm fairly comfortable with a moving and a shaking.
Yeah.
Pretty solid there. We get blizzards, like world-ending blizzards on the reg,
Hmm.
to the point where, had multiple snowmageddons. That's what we call it.
Hmm.
And they're valid and real, and we've had to shovel off our roof. What was it, 2 years ago when we traveled? I was like, sorry, Mom, I shoveled off the roof 3 times. I can't do it while we're gone. Put the kids up there. It'll be fine. They can't fall off. There's too much snow. So, yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot
Hmm.
of natural disasters and
Yeah.
stuff and crisis situations. Many. What
Yeah.
about you?
Um, s- I've experienced earthquakes and I obviously chased tornadoes, but the ones that we chased didn't do any damage, which was good. I've gone to offer relief to crisis situations. I actually did Hurricane Katrina cleanup and the Hurricane Sandy. I did Hurricane Sandy cleanup. I helped clean up after an earthquake in Costa Rica. So I wasn't there
Hmm.
for it, but I was there for the cleanup. Crisis situations, that's literally my
All
life
the time.
story. Yeah, I've had people collapse in my front yard and pass away. So there was one New Year's Day where 2016 I had to call 911 like 4 times and only we only lost two of them. So yeah.
So just this is the fun part about being friends with Krista. Um, you'll have a normal conversation and then death will just find its way in.
It
And
does.
it's
It
great.
does. Yeah, I mean,
So funny. Oh, I love it. It's not a criticism. I mean it. It's so fucking funny to me. Um, oh my God, I love
I've
it.
had to make light of death throughout my whole life because it follows me. Not only like just surrounds me, but also like that is my lot. I've died once. It didn't stick, and I joke about it a lot, and it throws people off. It's one of my favorite
Didn't
things. It comes
stick.
up unexpectedly, but I like it.
Yeah. Love it. Passionate about it. Great.
Yeah, yeah. It's not
Oh,
so bad.
okay.
It's not so bad.
What next? What next?
Let's
Also,
do another
Chris
one.
and I both have a Scorpio moon, which means we're both super clutch in emergency situations.
Yes, we are
You
so
will
good in
love
a
that we are
crisis.
there.
Yep.
All of the Italy trip.
The whole thing. Even when we are
What?
the crisis and like lay ourselves out in the middle of traffic. Um, ooh, who has been the biggest role model in your life?
Oh, um, what an interesting question. I hate this question, actually.
I so
Um,
there's a problem with this because I have one of those lives where every time I've chosen a role model, they've been a big fat disappointment. So I think
well, actually,
I think I'm
I'm
gonna
really
have to
bad at,
say no,
yeah.
go
Oh,
ahead.
you go, you go.
I think I'm gonna have to say like my biggest role model is like past me at this point for everything that they
Mm,
did. Because whenever I think about what I can't handle or what I feel like I can't handle, it's like, no, you've literally died and come back. You can handle this, or no, helped save a person's life in this situation. My stories are my biggest role model, and I'm
yeah.
very grateful to have them, even though,
Yeah.
they are catastrophic a lot of the time.
I was gonna say, I actually really hate the idea of role models in
Mm.
general because I think it elevates people to pedestals that is not fair. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
in a weird sunspot. I don't know what's going on with your window, but it's like blinding you. Um,
I'm sorry.
but no, you're good. So I actually have like a fundamental like issue with the concept of role models,
Mhm.
because I don't think it ever totally pans out. I would say books are my role model more than anything.
That's
People in books,
mhm.
characters in books, and then also I would say in a weird way, like my guides, my spirit guides
Mm,
are role models, I guess. I wouldn't follow any of their moral advice, but they're really good at helping remind me of things I need to continue doing, like and how to be good at humaning more.
mhm,
So, um, I also, and this is not like a, oh my God, I'm so not like other girls, but I also have lived a very individually, uniquely interesting, different sort of perspective on life. And I think that that's, I mean, which probably shouldn't surprise any of
mhm,
you with the history I have. And I'm not saying like all my experiences are unique. I'm not, but I'm just saying that a lot of them were not modeled by anyone else around me at all.
mhm,
So it's really hard to like look at that and be like, oh, these are my role models. I will say on a parenting standpoint, in a lot of ways, my mom, not 100%, but in a lot of ways, my mom, I love my mom. Um, but even then, I do things a little very different than her quite often.
mhm.
So, um, I don't know. I don't like that idea. I have
Yeah.
people that I look at and I go, I'd never want to do any of that shit. And I think that's almost more of a role model than
Mhm.
someone I would want
The
to
anti-role
emulate.
models. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
the
Yeah.
antithesis.
I mean, again, every time I've had a role model, they've turned out not to be what I thought they were going to be, which is fine. I've learned a lot. But I also remember that one time I channeled Jesus for a client and they were asking about how religion was, and the response was that there should be 7 billion religions because if there are any less than 7 billion, someone's believing someone else's truth and that's not accurate.
Mm,
So I think that that kind of resonates with the whole role model thing too. Like at some point you have to do it your unique way because otherwise you're just being someone else.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I
I'm
agree
gonna
with
try to
that.
sneak
All
back
right,
closer to my microphone.
let's do a different question. I
Yeah.
dislike that one. I hate that question. Every time it's
Yeah.
ever come up, I'm always like,
Well,
"Phew."
that was when I first started my traditional publishing journey back in like 2012. Everybody kept saying in all the interviews, "Who's your inspiration?" And they really wanted me to say things like Jane Austen or whatever. And I was like, I hate classical literature. I'm really sorry to disappoint you. I don't think it's
Yeah.
good. And I don't want to be like everybody else is writing. What's the point? Why read me when you could just read them? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what
Who's
you'll
my
get when you read our books, folks.
inspiration? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lacosta herself.
Right? Exactly. Just channel directly. Uh,
Hmm. We both came up with new book ideas, by the way, while we were gone.
we did.
And they're really good ones, and we're really excited to write them, which is bad because we both need to write sequels.
I have, yeah, yeah. Oh no. I have, yeah. Don't remind me. Okay, so we have time for maybe one or two more here.
Yeah.
And so, what personal quality do you know people appreciate about you?
My hair. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, in Egypt, they certainly did.
I made friends because of my hair
Yeah.
and my husband.
And my
Um,
husband. And
my husband
everybody who
is
went to Egypt is now saying number one. Hi, guys, we
yes,
see you.
he's just such a gem. I adore
Mhm.
him. Speaking of which, I see your papyrus behind you. Look at you being
Yeah,
all
I got
unpacked.
newt. Yeah.
I have your other papyrus, by the way.
The marriage one that they kind of pushed on
Yeah.
me
Hmm.
in the most ironic of times. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still in my bags.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Great.
one of
I'll
these
pick
tubes is
that up and
Krista's.
my alabaster
Which
candle holder
one?
from last year.
Right. We're gonna do two brulette. Which one is Krista's? Which one's mine? Because
Fantastic.
there's like four of them. Anyway.
There's a lot of papyrus.
Um,
I could wallpaper my house
what
in
one of my
papyrus at this
qualities
point.
do? What
What,
quality of my
yeah, what personal quality do you know people appreciate about you?
magic, I think, is gonna be my
Mm,
number one. I try to do make magic fun, and I think I bring that forward very significantly all the time,
you do.
constantly.
Can confirm.
Um, I also take very little, I think take things seriously when they need to be taken seriously, but not often. And so even in because I don't think things need to be taken as seriously as people do. Like
Hmm.
inherently on whole, like
Hmm.
en masse, I think we take things too seriously to our detriment. And I think that there's a way to take things seriously with levity. And try to embody that quite often. So
Hmm.
even in spaces, I mean, if you guys could see our group albums from the trips we take, my face is always absolutely insane because I'm never just sitting there like, let me look how cute. And I'm like, hey, like, and I think that brings a lot of joy in general.
Hmm.
So I would say that, and probably my creativity. I'm a really good ideas person. Like my ideal job, if every industry, if I could just be an idea consultant for every industry, like people would come to me and be like, what could you tell us? What should we do differently
Hmm.
about this project or this industry? And I would give them like a rundown of like 10 ideas and I would get paid for them and I wouldn't have to enact any of them, but they could be my ideas and they could like go forth in the world. I would do
Gosh.
so good at that. I would do
Hmm.
so good at that. So I think that there's an element of like the ideas and channeling that comes into, of course, but
Hmm.
I guess does this work? Are those personal
Yeah.
qualities? I don't know. I
No,
think I might be too neurodivergent to this question.
those are excellent personal qualities. I loved them. And now
Okay.
I'm gonna like it's I would like to say that people appreciate my sense of humor.
They do. It's great. I love your sense of humor. I love it.
It just there's either laughing or cringing whenever I crack an accidental joke, or Emily coming in and being like, "That's Krista's idea of a joke," and then everybody starts laughing, which I really appreciate too. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think my sense of humor is probably a quality that is appreciated. Um, I do know people also like my metaphors, so
Yeah, they are
yeah,
very good.
yeah. So I
Sneeze
like them too.
notwithstanding, but everything else.
That was that was a mistake that I made in my youth.
Metaphor mistake.
Yeah. No, but yeah. So metaphors and my sense of humor.
Great. I
Like
think
puns
those are
and
great
jokes.
qualities.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I also think you're ridiculously loyal and you should give yourself credit for that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I could describe your qualities way better than
Right?
my
That
own.
would have
I'm
been we
like,
should have just posed them to
right,
each other.
right.
Good
It's like, man,
Lord.
way too neurodivergent for this question right now.
Yeah, no.
What are
Because
my
honestly,
qualities?
if I'm going to go off on this, which I'm going to do, you are the most validating person who holds such incredible, authentic space for people to actually have feelings, which nobody in this world does. And
Thank
I've never
you.
felt so supported by a singular person in my life. So you are the person I can say 1000% that I trust most in the world because of that.
Thank you. Well, I promise I will never take that trust for granted.
Yeah,
Never for a
thank you.
single moment.
Thank you. What a concept. Scorpio moons, everybody.
Yeah, I take trust very seriously, and if you
Mhm.
give it to me, I will make sure it is honored forever.
Yeah,
So,
everything you
big
said.
deal.
Oh my goodness.
No, and like I said, I think you're an incredibly loyal person. I also think that you're always great at like encouraging people to ask questions and look at things in perspectives that they otherwise would not, which is a super powerful, wonderful thing. That I think a lot of people have always not appreciated necessarily about you that they should have.
Thank you.
Yeah. I also trust you implicitly. So, yeah,
Well, I am
no
too
hesitation.
neurodivergent to betray your trust. Trust me.
I know,
Where's
but
that
also that's
t-shirt?
just you. Oh, God. We want to
Oh,
squeak in one last one. We have 2 minutes.
sure, sure.
We
Let's
can do
just
it.
cut the deck here. Oh
Watch it have
gosh.
an insane long question. We'll be like, oh, never mind.
I don't know if I want to. Okay, so I'm going to read all of the questions, but let's go with the last one. The first one is, do you think violent computer games and movies make people violent? How is that
Nope.
ego?
Moving
No,
on.
no. Do you think the internet is making people more or less social than we used to be?
Yes, moving on.
100%. What do you know how to make or build with your own hands?
I am a crocheting fiend.
I was gonna say,
I am a crochet fiend. I will crochet. I now walk through stores and go, I can't buy that because I can make it. And that's a
uh-huh.
fun thing to be at. And I love that.
Mhm.
I can do that. I can do a fence like nobody's
Mhm.
business. I've put up many a fence in my day. That's not a problem.
And
I
not
could make that
offensive.
happen. Um, oh my God, so many different things. I'm very crafty as a person. I
Hmm.
also grew up in the mountains and the wilderness.
So,
So I can build a lot of stuff. Um, yeah,
yeah,
I don't know, pretty much anything, honestly.
right?
Is it the root of it? If someone was like, "Hey, we need to make this thing. Can you do it?" I'll figure it out.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was just thinking too, because like I've helped rebuild a lot of houses and stuff. So
Mhm.
I know what I'm doing with tools. But then I was thinking about this one time I was a student ambassador in the UK and we were staying with a family. And for some reason she thought I was like the popular variety of American person.
Oh,
Not true, but I wanted to pretend that it was true. So
right, of course.
it was when those t-shirts that you would like snip little sections in
Oh
them and tie the
yeah.
knots. She was like, "Can you make
Hmm.
my t-shirt like that?" And I was like, "Yeah." I
Sure.
winged it. I winged it 100% and I did it and she was thrilled. And like even this last week in Egypt, a couple of our travelers learned how to wrap their scarves around their head in a certain way. And one of the Kathys was like, I need to figure out how to do that when I get home. And I looked at it and I was like, I know how to do it. You want to see? Because I could
Yeah.
just see how it worked. So I showed
Yeah.
her. Yeah.
Right? Good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just very like, huh, probably anything. I could
Yeah.
just figure it out. What is
Right?
life? I don't know. I just
Yeah.
throw it to the wind.
Yep. Yeah. I looked
Um,
at it, I saw how it worked, and I did it.
yeah. I will say crocheting is so empowering though. If you need to like learn how to be really good at something really fast, crocheting is so empowering because you can be like, well, yeah, I can figure that out. I made a beanie the other day with these crazy knot stitches that I was like, I don't know, and it's way too big for my head, but I did it, and that's all
Yeah.
that matters. Like,
I'm making a blanket right now, and I like the first couple rows are total like screw up stuff, but then I recognize the pattern and I fixed it all by myself, and now it's coming out perfect. And it's
yeah,
like, I did that. That's awesome.
it
And
feels really good.
there's like nothing you can't make with crochet. Like, not everything's super effective with crochet, but you can make it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and I made this with a stick.
Yeah,
One stick. I
one
made this
stick.
thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
that's that's pretty cool. I
Mm-hmm.
will again show you all my bag that is also a crystal ball,
Uh,
just for reference, because
which
I
I
love
still
it.
need the pattern for.
Have I not
Yeah.
sent it to you? I'm doing it
No,
while we're on this call then.
thank you.
I'm on the podcast.
Mm.
This is how it is. Okay, this is
Yeah.
what it is.
I had a
Be
bunch of
friends with us.
my woobles over here. They're all up and down my shelf on this side.
Christopher. What? What do you mean? There's. Hold on. I'm gonna have to do spelunking in my draft. No.
Oh no,
Oh, finding.
not the
Don't worry.
Spelunking. All
All
right,
right.
so
We
with
appreciate
that,
you guys.
yeah.
Thanks for tuning into this episode. Join us
Oh,
on adventures in Peru because we're
yeah,
fun and you should
yeah.
come hang out with us.
And hey, happy Zodiacal New Year, everybody. This is coming out on the Aries Ingress Day, which is the spring equinox. Because it's coming out
Yeah.
tomorrow, right? It's coming
Which
out
means we're
tomorrow.
getting so close to April.
I
Hooray.
mean, I get to come see you in April. We're going to take
This
up a
is
lot of
true.
April with fun stuff.
And I'm now surprised going to Mexico in April, so that's fun. I'll tell you the story of that
Hey,
later.
I
But I'm
can't wait.
surprised going to Mexico now. Um,
This is what we do.
so
We take the worst months of the year and we just travel during them. For me, it's
yeah,
February, and that was gone, and I loved it.
yeah, it's yeah, April. But we're gonna have so much
Yeah.
fun. But
Mhm.
fucking April. Anyway, love you all. We
All
hope you take
right.
this energy and that you 1, 2, 3 go
Go
make
make
some
some
magic.
magic. Fantastic.